The room went completely silent when my mother-in-law raised her hand. Not because everyone was shocked. Because everyone expected it. I stood at the back of the church hall, holding my 6-year-old son's hand, watching the people I once called family decide whether I still belonged. My name is Emily Carter. A year ago, I was a wife, a daughter-in-law, and a woman who believed family meant standing together no matter what happened. Then my husband, Daniel, died in a construction accident. And after that day, everything changed. At first, everyone cried with me. My mother-in-law, Margaret, hugged me tightly at the funeral and whispered, "You're still my daughter. Daniel would want us to take care of you and Noah." I believed her. I needed to believe her. Because after losing Daniel, I felt like half of my life had disappeared. Daniel wasn't just my husband. He was my best friend. He was the man who woke up early every morning to make Noah pancakes before school. The man who left silly notes in my lunch bag. The man who always said, "Emily, no matter what happens, don't let anyone make you feel small." I remembered those words every day after he was gone. Because slowly, Margaret started making me feel exactly that. Small, unwanted, like I was an inconvenience. It started with little things. At family dinners, she would say things like, "You know, Daniel always loved this recipe better when I made it." Or, "Noah is getting older. He needs his father's family around him." I ignored it. I told myself she was grieving too. She lost her son. I lost my husband. Maybe we were both just hurting. But then the comments became sharper. One Sunday after church, Margaret looked at my black dress and said, "Emily, it's been almost a year. Daniel wouldn't want you dressing like you're still mourning." I stared at her. "I'm not mourning the clothes, Margaret. I'm mourning my husband." She smiled, but there was no kindness in it. That attitude is exactly the problem. I didn't understand what she meant. Not yet. A few weeks later, I found out. Margaret had been telling the family that I was holding on to Daniel's memory to control everyone. That I was using Noah as a connection to stay in the family. That I was not moving forward. I was shocked. Because while she was saying those things, I was working 2 jobs to pay our bills. I was raising my son alone. I was trying to survive. But nobody saw that. They only saw what Margaret wanted them to see. Then came the family meeting. She called everyone together at the church hall. When I walked in, I immediately knew something was wrong. My brother-in-law avoided eye contact. My husband's cousins whispered, and Margaret stood at the front like she was giving a speech. "Thank you all for coming," she said. My heart started racing. "Why are we here?" I asked. She looked at me calmly. "Because something needs to be decided." Noah squeezed my hand. "Mommy, are we in trouble?" I bent down. "No, sweetheart." But I wasn't sure. Margaret took a piece of paper from the table. "After Daniel's death, this family has tried to support Emily." Tried. I almost laughed. But I stayed quiet. She has refused advice. She has created conflict. She has made family gatherings uncomfortable. People looked at the floor. Nobody defended me. Nobody said, "That's not true." Nobody. Margaret continued. "So I believe the family needs to vote." My stomach dropped. "Vote for what?" She looked directly at me. "To decide whether Emily should still be allowed at family events." My mouth opened. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You're voting me out." She tilted her head. "We're choosing peace." I looked around the room. At people who had eaten at my table. At people who held Noah when he was a baby. At people who promised Daniel they would always take care of us. "Are you serious?" I whispered. Margaret nodded. "The family deserves a say." Then she started. "Everyone who believes Emily should no longer attend family gatherings, raise your hand." At first, nobody moved. Then Margaret's sister raised her hand. Then my brother-in-law. Then one cousin. Then another. Slowly, hands went up around the room. Each one felt like a knife. Noah started crying. "Mommy, why are they doing this?" I looked at my son. And something inside me broke. Not because they rejected me. Because they were teaching my child that people could erase his mother. I could have screamed. I could have begged. I could have exposed every cruel thing Margaret had done. But I remembered Daniel. Don't let anyone make you feel small. So I didn't say a word. I picked up Noah's backpack. I held his hand, and I walked toward the door. Margaret called after me, "Emily, don't make this dramatic." I stopped. Everyone expected me to turn around. Instead, I simply said. The dramatic part was pretending this was a family meeting. Then I walked out, and nobody knew what I had been carrying in my bag. Nobody knew about the documents, the recordings, the messages, the proof. For months, I had been keeping everything. Not because I wanted revenge. Because I had started realizing something. When people decide to rewrite your story, you better keep your own copy. That night, Noah cried himself to sleep. Do they hate us, Mommy? The question hurt more than anything Margaret said. I sat beside him. No, baby, but my voice shook. They made a bad choice. After he fell asleep, I opened my laptop. I created a folder. I named it, The Truth. Inside were months of evidence. Messages from Margaret, emails, voicemails, dates, everything. And the most important file was the one I found 3 days before the family vote. A letter from an attorney. A letter that explained why Margaret wanted me gone. Because this was never about family peace. It was about money, and a secret Daniel had left behind. A secret that would destroy everything they believed. The next morning, I received a phone call. It was from Daniel's old lawyer. "Emily, I'm sorry it took so long." I sat down. "Tell me." He was quiet for a moment. "Daniel left instructions before his death." My heart stopped. What kind of instructions? The kind that involve your mother-in-law. I gripped the phone. What did Daniel know? The lawyer sighed. Everything. Ellipsis. The lawyer's words stayed in my head. Daniel knew everything. I sat at my kitchen table, staring at the wall where Daniel's picture hung. For a moment, I couldn't speak. Everything about what? I finally asked. The lawyer, Mr. Harris, took a breath. "Emily, before Daniel passed away, he became concerned about certain things happening in his family." My hands tightened around the phone. "What things?" There was a pause. "Money, Noah's future, and your relationship with Margaret." My heart sank. Daniel had noticed. All those times I thought I was imagining things. All those moments I questioned myself. He knew. Mr. Harris continued. "Daniel created a trust for Noah. He wanted to make sure your son would always be protected." I closed my eyes. That sounded exactly like Daniel. He always thought about Noah first. He also left a letter. A letter, yes. But he instructed me to only give it to you if there was evidence that someone was trying to separate you from the family. My eyes filled with tears. Because that was exactly what happened. "They voted me out," I whispered. The lawyer was silent. "I know. Daniel knew this could happen. He feared it." I looked down at the folder on my laptop. The messages, the lies, the family vote, everything suddenly made sense. Margaret didn't want me gone because I was difficult. She wanted me gone because I was in the way. In the way of what? I asked. Mr. Harris answered. The truth. The next day, I went to his office. He handed me a sealed envelope. Daniel's handwriting was on the front. My heart broke instantly, because I hadn't seen his handwriting in months. I ran my fingers over the letters. Emily. Just my name, but it felt like he was still alive for 1 second. I opened it. Inside was a letter. My love, if you were reading this, something happened that I hoped would never happen. I know you. You probably tried to keep peace. You probably stayed quiet. You probably wondered if you were the problem. You weren't. I need you to know something. My family has always been complicated. My mother loves control more than she admits. And after my father died, she became obsessed with keeping everything under her power. A few months before my accident, I discovered something. She had been using money from an account that was meant for my future projects. But that wasn't the worst part. She had also been trying to gain control over No's trust. I confronted her. She denied everything. But I knew, Emily, if anyone ever tries to push you away, it's because they're afraid you'll discover what they've hidden. Protect Noah. Protect yourself. And remember, you don't have to fight loudly for the truth to win. Love, Daniel. I couldn't breathe. Daniel had seen it coming. And he had tried to protect us. But there was more. Mr. Harris placed another document on the desk. This is the financial report. I looked at it. My eyes widened. There was an unpaid debt. $18,000. And the name attached to it was Margaret. She borrowed money using Daniel's old business account as security, Mr. Harris explained. But Daniel stopped it before it became your responsibility. I stared at the papers. So she blamed me. Yes, everything clicked. The family vote, the accusations, the pressure. Margaret wanted control of No's trust. And she needed me gone. 3 days later, Margaret called me. I almost didn't answer, but I did. Emily. Her voice was cold. I heard you're talking to lawyers. I smiled sadly. Interesting. You were worried about me causing drama, but now you're calling about legal matters. She became quiet. Then she changed her tone. You're making a mistake. No, Margaret, I'm finally correcting one. She sighed. You don't understand how family works. I looked at Daniel's picture. I understand perfectly. You're trying to destroy us. I shook my head. No, I'm stopping you from destroying me. She lowered her voice. You think those documents will save you? No. I paused. The truth will. Then she said something I never expected. You should have left quietly. My stomach turned. Because it confirmed everything. She didn't want peace. She wanted silence. I ended the call. A week after the family vote, I received another invitation. A family meeting. But this time, I wasn't the one being judged. Margaret was. I walked into the same church hall. The same room. The same chairs. But everything was different. Mr. Harris was there. So was a financial investigator. Margaret looked nervous. For the first time, she didn't look powerful. She looked scared. What is this? She demanded. I placed a folder on the table. The truth. She laughed. You think paperwork scares me? No. I looked at her. But it explains you. I showed everyone the messages. The ones where she told relatives. Emily needs to be removed. The ones where she admitted. Once she leaves, No's trust will be easier to control. The room went silent. People looked at Margaret. She shook her head. That's not what it means. Then Mr. Harris spoke. It means exactly what it says. He placed the financial documents down. And this explains the missing funds. Margaret's face changed. You don't understand. I finally answered. No, we understand now. My brother-in-law looked at her. Mom, is this true? She looked around the room, searching for someone to defend her. Nobody did. The same people who raised their hands against me now sat silently. Margaret looked at me. I'm your family. I nodded. You were. That hurt her more than anger would have. Because I wasn't screaming. I wasn't attacking. I was simply done. Months passed. The family changed. Some apologized. Some didn't. I didn't force anyone. Because I learned something important. You cannot make people respect you. But you can stop allowing them to disrespect you. Noah slowly healed. One night, he asked me, Mommy, do we have to forgive them? I smiled. Forgiving someone doesn't mean pretending they didn't hurt you. Then what does it mean? I looked out the window. It means they don't control your heart anymore. Years later, I still remembered that day. The day my mother-in-law tried to erase me. But she forgot one thing. Quiet people are not weak. Sometimes the person who says the least is the person who has the most proof. And sometimes the strongest revenge is not destroying someone, it is standing tall after they tried to break you.